are in a Saleen S281. Introduce yourself, kind sir.
How's it going? I'm Bradley. This is my 99 Saleen Mustang. I've been restoring and rebuilding for like 4 years now.
You've put more time into an ST81 than I think anybody else I know.
Yeah, I mean it's been a lot. I mean, it went from being a free car to having like 25 grand into this thing real fast.
Oh no!
Like, we're here, and it runs and it drives, so I can't complain.
If you were to do a general breakdown of it,
yeah,
it's a 2-valve.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I think, assume the Saleen and the Terminator are like the same.
If they see a supercharger on a new Edge Mustang, they're like, it's a Cobra.
Right.
I thought it was that Cobra when I got it.
Right. And it's kind of like with the Mach 1 as well, right? Yeah. It's like the NA version of the Terminator,
right.
Almost.
Right, right.
And then the Saleen was like the next step.
Yeah, it was that middle ground. You know, I like to call this car the baby Cobra. Last dyno was 380. It's cooler today, and we've got more timing. Torque, it's probably like 420, 430.
And what's funny is you told me this is like a $500 Crown Vic engine.
Yeah, so this is a Crown Vic engine that I got 30,000 miles out of a 2011, 500 bucks. You talked about it in your Turbo Bullet video about how these are a dime a dozen.
They're so easy to find.
It's 100% true.
Oh yeah, I also did the Bullet.
Yeah.
So this is the last new Edge. Yeah, I've done every other new Edge.
Yeah, this
now.
is the last. Well, no, you haven't done a Roush.
Oh, you're right.
Which I have one of the same car.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very similar to this, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the same blower.
Speaking of the blower, what's the blower setup
this
on
is
it?
So this is an MP90 Magnuson blower. There's not much of it left from the original Saleen configuration. It's got a TorqueTech inlet, so the elbow from a TorqueTech kit for MP112, which was very hard to find. It's got a intercooler. I mean, it's intercooled. There's a heat shield that a guy in the community makes, which really solves the biggest defect with these because they heat so fast.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You're hard pressed to find one that makes over 300 horsepower without it.
Crazy. I mean, this was like the pinnacle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Supercharged V8s.
Yeah, this car was supposed to make 360, and it doesn't from factory.
That is so funny how much it whines, but it's honestly a really smooth power band.
Yeah, it's nice.
It feels really happy.
And this is honestly, so you're driving it untested right now, actually.
So why are you telling me this?
So there's a 110 octane tune in this. There's 5 gallons of 110 in it right now, mixed with 93 to just add us a safety net so we could run some more timing. And we're really just trying to hit that 400 horsepower number on this car.
Speaking of kits, I always loved the Saleen body kit because it's the most 2000, like early 2000s body kit from the factory. But you said it's not so great.
Quality is hit or miss. If you have somebody that really knows how to do body work, they're gonna struggle still. It's a pain. The polyurethane is just not as rigid as it should be.
Oh, I didn't know they were poly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not as rigid as it should be.
It's before people really mastered poly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And they just, they still make the kit brand new, and they just change nothing about it. In fact, it's actually gotten worse.
But it has like the really intense side scoops on the side that don't work.
Yeah.
I love the rear of the Saleen though, like the big ducktail and the big bumper out the back, because it was Terminator enough.
Right.
But
and
also
this isn't even the big wing. The S351 is the big wing. That's a dinner table right there.
We were talking about earlier, I think my favorite version of these cars was that Sonic Blue.
Oh,
they just look so good.
Beautiful color on these cars.
The S281 had this kind of reputation of it had almost a louder whine than some of the Terminators.
Yeah.
Which was kind of confusing. It's like, isn't that supposed to be the one that whines the loudest?
Because it doesn't flow as well. So you go slower, but you sound cooler.
Right. Generic new Edge interior.
Yeah.
You know, it has all the same new Edge-ness to it. If somebody was like, David, what are the 2 weirdest Mustangs made? I'd be like, probably the McLaren Fox body.
Oh yeah.
That's I forgot those even existed.
Those are strange, but they're cool.
They're cool, and then probably these, because a lot of the times you'll see people with like V6s put this kit on it. And you're like, what are you doing, dude?
Yep.
But you see that S281 badge, you're like, oh, okay, at least it has a blower on it.
Either it's real or he's just really faking it.
Really faking it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, second feels real strong.
Yeah.
And then you get to third and it's like, huh,
It's still 327 rear gear though.
oh, wow, dude.
So, I mean, it'll run out to like 150. It just feels...
That's what I mean. It's like we don't have the space for that.
At some point it'll do 355s. I drove a car that was, my buddy Blake. He had a Torque Tech car with 373s. Felt very similar, but you know, 120 and they're done. I'm like, I don't like that. So 355 might be the number I land on, but
we'll do a lower one. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad, who's watching, so hi Dad. He's probably saying right now, just leave the car alone. And so that's probably what I'll do. Send it.
That's a good Saleen. I could imagine this blowing people's minds back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like the way it makes you feel, the sound it makes.
When I first got this car, I got like 100 miles in the tank. I was in boost all the time. And that's probably what killed that motor. It was already hurt, and it had bad rings, and when it got tuned for the last time, it made 330 on the dyno, and my tuner's like, hey man, so make good power, but you got a cylinder ain't doing it.
To all my 2-valve fans, you guys really hate when I make fun of 2-valves. I don't really make fun of them, I just say the improvement Ford made in like 10 years was so bananas.
Oh, it's so much better.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not necessarily hating on them, I'm just saying the LS was a better engine. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, they couldn't compete. And then the 3-valve, you're like, okay, buddy, you're getting there, but it's not quite there.
Your LS1 and your Catfish and you know, and your WS6. Look, it's a better engine. I will hands down. I mean, these cars, a bone stock 2-valve is a dog.
It's a dog. Like my first car was a 2-valve.
Yeah.
And I remember it sounded good, but it was not enough to hurt myself.
Nope.
That's like the mentality.
I mean, a Nissan Altima is just about as fast.
Which is really sad.
Yeah.
You said it's a T45 transmission.
It's a T45. So here's a little bit of history about this car. It's got a weird story. This started life as a base model. No blower, 5-speed.
Oh, really?
It's basically a GT with suspension and a body kit.
Okay.
In 2003, it was swapped to a 4R70 and the blower.
What?
I hated that transmission. It was cool in first and second. Third was like hitting a brick wall.
Oh no, just like too tall of a gear.
It was terrible. So when this the original motor finally breathed this last breath, that thing came out, trans came out. We put a built, semi-built T45 from a 96 into it. And it's got a lightweight flywheel, Ram HDX clutch, and then this 2011 Crown Vic motor. Slap the blower on, and
it's weird because you put all this work into it, but what's funny about the motor is like that's like the lowest risk part you have almost. Because if you think about it, it's like
it's the cheapest part.
It's the cheapest part. I think that's what I should have said. It's the cheapest part.
It just requires the most effort to replace.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. When you're like, yeah, it's got a T45, we're so used to hearing T56 in everything now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that existed.
Yeah.
And the shifter in the new edges is always kind of funky.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of far away from you.
It is. It's really far.
And I like that you have the Hurst shifter on it, but a lot of the times, like in the Terminators, they go like this. They go,
Yep.
And
weird.
it's really hard to shift them fast because the new edges as well, like the clutch rides all the way to the top.
Yep.
So to find that sweet spot when you get on it is a little funky. It's funny, my first ever encounter with the S281, believe it or not, was a vert like this in Virginia, but it was turboed, which was really rare at the time. It was like that faded maroon, no clear coat. Like it was pretty
like the
rough.
laser red?
Yeah, it was like dark red.
Yeah,
but it looked like the clear has seen a better day.
All laser red cars start looking like that at some point.
But no, I was like, what's done to it? He's like, it's turbo. And this is like in 2007. So it was really rare to see something like that.
And Andrew's tried to convince me to on 3 turbo kit this thing.
I don't know.
If it was a hard top, man, I would have gone for a race car. But you know, I'm working with the hand I was dealt.
This has an MS3 Pro in it?
Yeah, MS3 Pro.
Yeah, so
we just put that in about 2 weeks ago.
So it got a standalone in it, and And that, of course, gets rid of all the early 2000s isms of this car.
Some of the roughness that you'll see has to do with the MS3 not being 100% right.
Okay,
but
yeah.
It's wide open it's about 90% there.
Okay, well, you're still nice enough to be like, hey, come give it a try.
Do it, man.
It's weird. I hear a Crown Vic, but I also know there's a blower there. You knew a car was quote unquote sporty or fast when it had white gauges.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh man.
And I will never get rid of those.
No, leave it. It looks good.
And one of the cool things about it is the only new Edge like factory cluster that goes at 200 miles an hour. And Andrew.
Oh, I just saw that.
Andrew thought that was the coolest thing. Cool is it has that. What's bad is if those break, they're a custom PCB. You'll never be able. And the machine that they use to dial those in, long dead. Toast. So my original, and this is what hurts me, but my original Saleen cluster had failed, and I didn't realize that there was a guy on the side that fixed it. I tossed the thing.
You're just like, it's done.
I tossed it. I had no idea that to replace that, I'd spend almost $1,000. And I got a really good hookup on that for being a high mileage cluster, but it was so close to the mileage of the car, I would pay $300 for it. KYB, shocks and struts, no coilovers. I hate how they ride in this car. So
it just doesn't really feel right.
We just did some Team Z lower control arms.
These are still solid axle, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Upper control arms from UPR and spherical bushings, and then aluminum drive shaft.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't cut any corners on this thing.
We did that literally like 2 days ago.
And here we are.
I know, because I told Brad, who was working on it, I said, hey, you got to get this done, because David's reviewing this car, and I'll be damned if he doesn't review it.
It is the most common story. It's so funny, like, especially with people who build a car and it's been running the same for like 6 years. I'm like, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
And then people will be like, oh, I just replaced this thing. I'm like, we're doomed.
If this car gets a month without being touched,
really? It's just a high maintenance car?
No, it hasn't been until the last few months where we just decided last minute to do all this
stuff.
Like we did the MS3 and all the suspension stuff literally at the same time.
Before we end this video, I'm just gonna add, you have insane luck with breakdowns. Like if your car breaks down, you somehow still make it home almost every time.
Yep.
When I break down, it's done. Like I can't get anywhere.
Now trust me, I've had my fair share. I mean, this thing's thrown a belt 10 times.
Oh, so it's a belt issue?
Been stuck.
Okay.
Well, on the old motor, but on the Windsor motor, different belt routing.
Second gear is really fun in this car.
Oh, it's the best.
Because honestly, it kind of has the mentality of like it's fast enough to have that fun moment and then slow back down.
It's a stoplight car.
Yeah, it's a stop. That's a great way to put it.
It's a great stoplight car.
Like you're not like it's a fun car for you.
Yeah,
you know, like,
absolutely.
You don't have to impress anybody. You're just having a nice time.
Such a different experience from like even my daily. You know, my one goal with this car was to be faster than my bolt-on G37.
Okay.
And it does that.
Okay, good.
So I'm happy.
Bradley, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
I hope you had a good time.
Oh, absolutely.
I know, like, you're almost never in passenger seat, so thank you for letting me do that.
No, trust me. Look, there's nobody else that I trust to drive this thing than someone like you who has so much experience.
Man. The gears are so long, and you can really take your time, get ready for the next gear.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just an enjoyable cruiser that makes cool noises. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it.
It's awesome. I mean, I love the dog on this car, and he was making fun of me for talking so much crap about it, but it is a fun car to drive. It's not a Terminator, but it's not a GT.
Right, it's not a GT. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm going to go into fifth gear because the Saleen did nice. It did all the right things. We're going to let him get back home. We did some fun pulls. He drove 80-something miles to get here, so thank you again.
Yeah, no problem.
And along with that, I typically upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Go find some supercharger wine. It'll make your life better. Okay, bye.